Hey guys, welcome to another episode of Blockbusting, the podcast where we talk shit about the movies. I'm your host, Jay Light. Joining me, my guest today, Jay Washington.
Thank you for having me very much. I'm glad to be here.
Glad to have you. You're my first, not my first. I've had a couple other guests on here who are cinephiles, but you're my first, professional cinephile guest.
You know what? It's still weird to be getting called that, realizing what I do now and who I work with and work for. And people are like, yo, so you professional in the film industry, critiquing movies and stuff like that? I'm like, no, I'm just a black dude that talks shit a lot of times. But it's cool to be able to do it and have an opinion and a voice on things that people respect now. You know, people will be like, yo, what do you think about this TV show? What do you think about this movie? And I'll give my opinion on it, and I'll break down why I say that. And some people are like, you bring up a good point. I'm like, hey, man, just send it to my PayPal. Just send it to my PayPal. That's how I feel.
There you go. Well, we got some good movies coming out this week. Well, actually, it doesn't look like we have a lot of good movies coming out this week. We have right now. We're recording on a Friday instead of a Sunday like usual, so it's not box office results. It's just predictions. It looks like the top two movies that were huge, wide release that have been blasted everywhere for months are both piles of shit. Geostorm and The Snowman.
So I got buddies who were film critics who went to see an early review of The Snowman, and myself and a couple of other guys and girls that work for different companies. We're going to go tomorrow, and this one girl, she was trying to plan a group event, and people who had saw it in advance were like, it's so bad. One girl who I never thought would say this, she was like, listen, if you go see it, make sure you are heavily drunk or smoke something beforehand. I said, Jesus Christ. And I was like, okay, it's bad. My thought on Geostorm, some studio exec was sitting around like, hey, we still got Gerard Butler under contract and have to make a movie with him. What are we doing with about that movie about the weather machine that gets hacked? That is the only way you can explain Geostorm getting made. Because when I saw the premise of it, I said, oh my God, the last thing you need with so many people who have been conspiracy theorists, saying that, oh, the government's controlling the weather is a fucking movie about a weather-making machine.
Yeah, this is a bad time in the news to have. Oh, God, this is going to fuck up everybody's climate change denial.
It's automatically going to fuck because they're like, look, they made a movie about it, and the only way they make a movie about it if it was real. Well, they made a fucking movie about dinosaurs, and we don't see velociraptors running around the fucking streets, okay?
No,
Not yet. But we don't see them. And, I was like, oh, y'all are really pushing this. But again, we had to go back because we had this period where we had all these disaster and apocalyptic type movies. We had the Deep Impacts. We had the Day After Tomorrows. We had the Armageddons, all these movies where the world was going to end on some catastrophe. And now the government fucks us up. What else do we need? With Gerard Butler, who, again, I understand that man is not from America, but he tries his hardest and the shit sounds horrible. That's just my opinion on Geostorm.
Look, I think Geostorm is going to be a huge pile of shit. I don't trust a lot of big disaster movies.
I wanted to go see it just because I knew it was going to be hilariously horrible.
See, that's why I kind of want to go see The Snowman now because I've heard so much about. I heard that it the first thing that is a big signifier for me. And this is we'll jump ahead a little bit as a news story. Is that the director Thomas Alfredson is shitting on his own movie
because he came in later. Because I think it was supposed to be Scorsese or somebody else's film.
Yep.
And he came in later, was like, they just brought me in to do reshoots and shit. So it's not his real movie.
He's like, we couldn't even shoot 10 to 15% of the script.
Yeah. So I'm like, what do people expect? When I heard people like, dude, don't do it. But when I saw the previews for it anyway, I was like, the killer leaves a snowman as
This seems... Look, I think we've hit peak weird Norwegian drama story. We Girl with the Dragon Tattoo, I get it. All the weird TV shows, yeah, cool. Now, this is cartoonish.
This is just called what can we do? Because the complaint has been for a couple of years about Hollywood just remaking films and not coming up with a quote unquote original idea.
Right.
Well, some of the original ideas or whatever they may be have just been throw shit at the wall to see what sticks. It's like how, for lack of better words, how South Park comes up with a weekly episode.
Yeah.
We'll just throw a bunch of ideas out and have somebody pen a script and we're done. We get a star to attach to it. We get a director. We got a budget. Let's go.
And they got Fassbender for this. Fassbender is good. He's a good actor.
You know what? And I hate when somebody who is definitely on the rise in his career, in his acting career, like Michael Fassbender, you get attached to a project like this, and people are gonna remember this. You know, we know Michael Fassbender is part of a bunch of other stuff. Again, I still hate the fact he did Alien Covenant because he had a love affair with him goddamn self. That's a dude. That Michael Fassbender love affair was the worst shit I've ever seen. But you know, him being, well, is it the biggest breakout? Because he did.
He's a pretty big breakout,
he's
but
a-
it was
he's a
from a
big
few
name.
years ago.
Yeah, but he did Assassin's Creed. Let's just
But
say
he did Shame.
he did Shame. I mean, and he has been an amazing young Magneto.
Yeah,
You know,
he was. He did a great job as
He's
young
an amazing
Magneto.
young Magneto. I mean,
But is he an amazing Harry Hole Norwegian detective?
Hell no.
Of course not.
Of course not. So I mean, it's just Michael Fassbender can only do so much.
Yeah.
You know, any actor, no matter who they are, they can only do so much, and you can only put so much on them with a certain project, and they can only make it come to life as much as possible before it's just like, yeah, let's not do this. So.
The prediction for the top of the box office this weekend, and this is based on Thursday returns, is it looks like Boo 2, a Medea Halloween.
Which I knew it. I fucking knew it too. A lot of people will give me flack for it because I'm not a Tyler Perry movie fan. And it's because a lot of this shit is anecdotal, and it's just not, it doesn't have any substance. It's, okay, Tyler puts on the dress, and now he's trying to do the Eddie Murphy route with doing multiple characters.
Mm-hmm.
All right, but what's the point of the movie? I mean, do I want to see Medea? It's a money grab. Do I want to? Medea
It's a huge money grab.
It's a huge, because Medea goes to jail. Medea's family reunion. Medea's Halloween, and then we said we're going to do a sequel of this shit. Who was really asking for a Boo 2 Medea's Halloween? Who?
It's literally greenlit by one person.
Oprah Winfrey and Tyler Perry, potentially.
It's.
I mean,
one
Tyler
person
Perry
at
is
Sony.
he's
his
a
own
juggernaut.
studio.
He has his own studio.
He has his own
can
studio.
make whatever he wants.
So who were you saying, Max?
We
can't hear you.
We can't hear.
Sorry.
Come back.
Devon Franklin over at Sony.
See, and because again, you know, but see Sony, and which says a lot because of the dumb shit Sony's about to do with the whole Spider-Man villains and everything. But that's a whole nother ball game I can get into. I just had a long discussion about how that's pissing me off. But I've been saying that for months since they announced what they were going to do with that. But Sony is just out it as a cash grab. It's not. They don't care about a solid product.
No.
Sony doesn't care. So you just do a cash grab. And again, yes, is it going to make money? Yes. Is it going to be a solid film? From what I've heard, possibly not. But again, you can't go into a Medea film with a lot of expectations unless you are a Medea fan. You know, so
Yeah,
it'll do it. I mean, I would like to see what other films would do. But there's not really much coming out this weekend.
there's not a whole lot.
The Foreigner comes out with Jackie Chan, which
And that was already out in sort of limited release. It did all right.
Right now, it's in the full release.
Yep.
So it's like, all right. Also, I've had people were having an argument about that. Like, why does it have to be called The Foreigner? I was like, what do you mean? It's like, look at the theme and look at the story of the movie. You have another movie that's similar to that, then you call it American Assassin. You have another similar situation, you called it Taken, but it's Jackie Chan and you call it The Foreigner. I was like, you know what? You got a goddamn point. But you know, we're at the point anyway now in the year where the Oscar films, the ones that they want to contend, are about to come out. So.
Yep. We're in this like the weird. It's Halloween time. It's scary time. People are gonna want to go see horror movies. It's gonna keep smashing at the box office. It'll stay in the top 5 through at least the rest of the month.
Yeah, because I don't think there'll be any. I mean, like next week you get Jigsaw, which I'm looking forward to. I'm going to see it myself personally, but I want to know what will it do as far as numbers, because it's been almost 10 years since we've had a Saw movie.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, a lot of people fell off from the other ones. They were like, they just loved the first one because the first one was a drama more so than a horror film, which it truly was. The second one, and so on and so forth, became almost torture porn. And now to bring it back 10 years later, and the previews show that, we're still doing the same thing. There are some fans of the series, like myself, who want to go see it. There are other people like, nah, I'm not going to do it. But it's Halloween. If you're going to do Halloween movies, you don't just have to do the Friday the 13th. You don't have to just do the Halloween series, the Nightmare on Elm Streets. You know, just have fun, explore out a little bit.
Yeah, that's the thing. I think it would be great if there was a new franchise potential movie. Because the problem was the only other like new Halloween movie that came out this year is Happy Death Day last week.
Which I was skeptical about.
And I hear mixed things. I hear
Yeah.
some people really like it. My guest last week hated it. It's part of the Groundhog Day extended universe, as far as I know. And I don't know if I'm gonna go see it. I still want to go see it for sure.
You have not seen it yet?
I have not seen it yet. I haven't gotten
What
around
is?
to it.
Have you seen the original miniseries?
I've only seen clips. I watched like a Tim Curry best of compilation on YouTube.
So it really doesn't matter though. But it's just that because I had saw the original miniseries, my interest was already piqued when they said they were doing it. And then I saw the trailers and everything, and I finally saw Bill Skarsgård as that fucking clown, and I was like, yo, I don't like this clown, but I want to see the movie. And the film didn't disappoint.
Mm-hmm.
It's the highest grossing debut grossing horror film in history.
Yep, and that's the highest grossing R-rated movie in history.
R-rated movie in history. So it's like evidently people are going to see it multiple times. So I mean, I would say definitely go see it.
It's on my list. I got the movie pass. I still got to go see it one
Yeah.
of these days. The one movie that is coming out this weekend that I am intrigued by is Only the Brave, the firefighter movie. It's getting pretty decent reviews. It's got a good cast. I like Josh Brolin. I like Miles Teller, Jeff Bridges. Jennifer Connelly's in it, and it looks probably the most Oscar baity of the stuff that's coming out right
all
now.
and
but
that's
it's
all
Oscar
it is.
bait.
It's Oscar bait. It's literally Oscar bait because you also not only would it be an Oscar bait season, you have to play smart with your movie releases because what's about to come out in 2 weeks. You get Thor Ragnarok drops on the 3rd.
Yep.
2 weeks behind that, you get the Justice League movie. I think 2 or 3 weeks behind that, because I don't think they're going to do it directly on Christmas, you're getting Star Wars.
Yep.
So you have to drop your films. If you're a studio, you have to play the game of like, where do we drop this movie at where our numbers won't be really affected by what we're looking for? Because some movies, they drop that they don't care about a giant box office number. The film, what is the damn film that just came out with Dame Judi Dench?
Oh God, Victoria and Abdul.
And Abdul.
Yeah.
You know they're not really caring about making $100 million with this movie.
Right.
You know the studio's not.
Same deal with Wind River.
With
when
Wind
that came
River.
out.
They don't care about this $400 million film. No, they know this is an Oscar contender film. That's what they're putting this out for.
Yep.
They need the buzz for Oscar season, which is never been a problem at all. But it's just, you know that. But you have to, with these blockbusters coming out, 2017 has been a blockbuster year. You know, we haven't had a year where from top to bottom, beginning of the year to the end of the year, you've had so many films. You're like, yo, you gotta you're spending money in the theaters this year, and you are fine with it.
Mm-hmm.
From Logan coming out beginning of the year to Guardians, I'll go the comic book route, to all the way down to Star Wars. You get all these different movies in between. People have just been dropping money at the theater. Now, granted, overall, the summer box office didn't reflect that. But we're talking about a lot of these movies that came out.
Oh, yeah.
But
and
now,
people are going to see all this on VOD later. They're definitely going to go watch it.
Which now is happening super quick.
Mm-hmm.
Movies, you know, if the moment it looks like the traction in the film is dropping down 2-3 weeks, get ready to go VOD.
Yep.
Which is, you know, now is the easiest thing to do anyway. You know, we have Redbox, but VOD has made it instantly accessible.
Yeah.
So.
Well. Let's speaking of things that are going to be, and this is not the box office, but stuff that's going to be fucking released like crazy. First news story we're going to cover from Variety. Netflix announces that they are going to release 80 original films in 2018.
Not surprised.
Too many.
Not surprised. Have you ever just stopped recently and looked through Netflix?
Yeah, there's too much.
It is Netflix's original programming is fucking ridiculous. You're like, what is all this?
I think this is going to be this could be a pretty hefty Oscar contender year for Netflix. And not just the documentary sphere where they've kind of had, they've had their thing before. They had the big movie that came out, Okja. I think that could be a contender for them in some categories. They've got some other stuff that could come out soon.
You got to remember,
First They Killed My Father's up for the best foreign language
film. So you got Netflix as well as Hulu too.
Yeah,
because you know once Netflix announces we're going to do a certain amount of movies, here comes Hulu and Amazon. Like, don't worry, we got them too.
And Amazon got Oscar contention. They have Oscars because of Manchester by the Sea.
So that lets you know that VOD can break the barriers of the standard and traditional films that come out theatrically. If Manchester by the Sea won an Oscar, that's all you have to say.
Yeah.
People are like, what do you mean? Beast of No Nations was nominated for it.
Yeah.
You know, the little boy Abdullah Tula, I can't remember his name. Pardon my memory lapse. But the little boy in Beast of No Nation nominated. Again, video on demand.
Yeah.
Internet. This isn't your normal theatrical release. So it's not surprising to me. But when Netflix saying 80 movies,
especially when we already know how deep in the hole and debt they are.
But it's like, how? Well, then again, when you see all the stuff they put out, you're like, oh, that's how.
Because they're making 80 movies, and they're also making God knows how many TV shows. They've already got multiple seasons of things that are going to be renewed. I'm sure they're going to have a whole slate of new original content on the TV side.
Which is crazy, because South Park made a joke about it. They said, if you got a TV show, Netflix will buy it. Which pretty much is true. Because their overhead is like they're underwritten in some cases by ABC and Disney, so their overhead for whatever they're doing isn't much. The SAG contract makes it where they don't have to pay out a lot, so they're like, yeah, we can do all this. And you know, they got 99 million, if not more, subscribers worldwide. If I'm Netflix, I'm like, yo, I don't have to rely on just the content that other people have made, especially because Disney is going to pull everything. You know, so you can't get Star Wars. You can't get Marvel pretty soon.
Unless you want to subscribe to Disney's own VOD service.
Disney's VOD service. So they're like, we have to make sure we can offset it. But it's hard when it's like, okay, you have certain programs like a Big Mouth, which is hilarious now. You have movies like Beast of No Nation, which are great. But then you have those ones that kind of don't reach the peak of what they were publicized as. Santa Clarita Diet was literally only an acquired taste program.
Yeah.
It literally was only an acquired taste. I personally liked it, though.
I liked it, but I didn't like the ending. I hope it goes better.
The ending just was like, wait, we just gonna leave her in a storage room just out of nowhere? But it didn't. But it's like people wanted that, and they renewed it. And we're getting another season. Because, of course, you're getting Drew Barrymore, Timothy Oliphant. Yeah, let's do it again.
Well, the cast like that.
And it's Netflix. Netflix is like, yo, we're going to change our format, which is weird. We've watched Netflix switch over like that.
Yeah.
Remember, like, Netflix first started, it was just, oh, these are movies I ain't seen in a while. Man, I can go watch them on Netflix. Now it's like, you can't even find half those movies anymore on Netflix.
Yeah.
They have to clear out their service to put up all this original content, which there's nothing wrong with it, but to an extent, that's not why I got Netflix.
That's not why I got Netflix either.
That's not why I got Netflix.
I got Netflix for the DVDs. I didn't even give a shit about streaming for a long time.
Before people forgot about, people were getting the actual DVDs. I got Netflix because there were so many movies that I hadn't seen from the 80s and 90s that I couldn't find anywhere else, and I wanted to watch, and Netflix had them available. Now, a lot of them I can't find.
You got to dig.
I got to dig, and then Amazon is like, nah, you're not going to get these without paying separately, as does Hulu.
Man, that's why I just take my sister's Amazon Prime account.
And just watch everything.
Yeah.
I don't blame you.
It's a good plan. Here's a question. I want to hear what your take on this is. Between the three main streaming services now, which do you think, because it's inevitable. We already saw a Best Drama Emmy go to Hulu. Which is going to be the first one of those studios to get Best Picture? Which one is going to finally topple Old Hollywood?
Well, Manchester by the Sea didn't get it.
It got the nomination, but it
got
did
the
not
nomination,
win.
didn't get the film. I think it's right behind your screen if you're looking for the bottle of water.
Oh, thank you. That is exactly what I was looking for.
Because I saw the way your hand was going.
It was in the blind spot on my laptop.
I think it'll probably be Amazon. And the only reason I say that is because of the level of talent they're able to pull in for films. Now, this doesn't take away anything that Netflix has pulled in, but you got Brad Pitt to go ahead and help co-direct the film.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if Netflix can do that. Again, when you hear that you're bankrupt, when you hear this company's bankrupt, regardless of what they're doing, that's not going to pull a talent who's commanding a certain amount to do work on your project. Some want to do it for the love. This is true. I think Amazon will probably get the Best Picture first.
I think you might be right.
I think Amazon will get it, and
they got a little bit more prestige to them.
Yet Manchester by the Sea did a lot for them. Again, having the nod is a great thing for no matter what. Hulu, Amazon, and Netflix, all respectively. Having the nod for the Oscar is a big thing. But I think the statue is gonna go to Amazon, and that is gonna change the game completely.
Yeah,
I mean, it's like you said, it's already changing.
And I see that happening in the next like 2 to 3 years.
Dude, I see everybody cutting the cord, getting rid of cable.
Mm-hmm.
Everything's now that you can do all the on-demand channels.
My roommate was moving out, and she was telling, and I asked her if she wanted my, because she's taking the TV because it was her TV, and I asked her, I got an antenna, and I was like, "Do you want to take that antenna?" And she's like, "No, I think we're gonna get cable." Like, what? I haven't heard of anybody actually paying for cable in maybe 5 years.
Sorry, man, go for it.
No, go ahead.
Go ahead.
I got a letter in the mail offering me a cable and internet package, just totally cheaper than my internet in general, and it's for the same company.
See.
How do they do that?
I don't. Because they're scrambling. They know everybody's dropping cable.
You know what? I've seen a lot of. I think there's certain channels on cable that you can't get on the on-demand service. Without a cable subscription in a sense. But there are a lot of people now who, let's just be honest, the main networks, they'd rather watch on demand.
Yeah.
It's because it's not there. In a lot of cases, it's not about being able to sit and watch it when it airs.
Right.
If I can catch it later, I can catch it later.
I mean, keep this in mind. We also live in an era of everybody sharing their passwords and of hacked Amazon Fire TV sticks. You don't have to have any of the subscription services if you don't want to pay for them. You can borrow it from somebody else. HBO Go already said that they're cool with people borrowing shit. Netflix is basically said the same thing.
Yeah. I mean, Netflix. Well, Netflix for a while was like they were going to stop. They were going to stop allowing so many people to use the same account.
But yeah, they gave up on that.
They were, yeah.
It's too much to police.
Well, is it? I mean, all you got to do, because this is what has happened, and I'll tell you how they policed it. I've seen personally where my daughter's mom and her and I share an account. I pay for the account, she uses it. However, I have the account logged on like multiple devices, and it'll come up one time and say, "Hey, man, you got to turn somebody off. One of these accounts can't run with it." I was like, okay, but that's one of the things that's going to happen again. Like I was about to say earlier, the fact that you have NBC, CBS, ABC going to their own on-demand platforms, people can watch their show a day later.
Yep.
With no problem. So yeah, the cord will be cut soon.
We move from talking about companies that are financially bankrupt to one company that is morally bankrupt. Our old pal Harvey Weinstein continuing to be in the news. This week...
I'm so glad we're talking about it.
We got to keep talking about it. Shit continues to escalate for Harvey Weinstein. This courtesy of Uprocks and a shitload of other publications. The LAPD have announced they are officially investigating Harvey Weinstein.
Of course they're going to say that. The problem is, unless something is recent, because I think, unfortunately, statute of limitations will apply to a lot of these situations.
Here's the thing. So there are other investigations. It's a state. I think statute of limitations is a state-based thing.
Yeah.
And there are currently other investigations underway in New York and in London.
Oh, okay.
So he's going to get pinched one way or another.
Yeah. You know what? I'm hoping he does, and I'm hoping it sticks, because we've seen many times before, you got money, you can get off. Now, granted, this is shaking the industry to its core, because we've heard about the unfortunate victims, every last one of them, but now you started hearing about the darlings. The fact that Lupita Nyong'o just came out,
yeah,
they like, oh no, and she's a Disney star.
And we were just talking about that before we started recording. Me and Max were.
Yeah, she's a Disney star. Oh no, they finna make sure he goes down as best as they can. They've already removed him from the academy. They're trying to. It's like, now do you try to rescind his Oscars and stuff like that? It's like, nah, you can't do all that.
And the craziest thing about the Lupita Nyong'o thing, too, I just saw this on Twitter. She had her account come out in the New York Times, and he sent a spokesperson to release a statement just on her story.
Really?
That is the first person who he has said, yeah, it didn't happen like that. Which is like...
bruh.
That's
like, how do you just, listen, I didn't do exactly that. Now, look, I kept my clothes halfway on. Like, the fact is...
I jerked off in a succulent, not a potted plant. It was a little different.
I just got to believe him with that one. Just the only one.
It's the only one. That's the only one I can believe now, anyway, because once he told his story, again, the problem has been, It's been going on for decades. People have known.
Open secret.
It's been an open. The fact that when you hear about Hollywood, what's some of the first things you hear? You may not hear by name. You hear about all the sex parties. If you want to be successful in Hollywood, you're going to have to do some things with some people. Man or woman, it doesn't matter. You hear all these stories consistently. And now you start putting a name to a face. Like many times, yes, Harvey Weinstein's name has come up. Also, it's been in joking form. A lot of TV shows. 30 Rock has made jokes about him before.
Yep.
30 Rock has been on the forefront of a lot of things.
Entourage did too.
Entourage as well. But these things were known, and we just took them as a joke because it's like, oh, nah, this can't really be happening. But if people are consistently saying that it's happening. Now, the fact that you've taken down one of the most powerful men in Hollywood, the question becomes, well, not even a question. The thing is now, if you take down one of the most powerful men in Hollywood, no one is safe.
No.
Anybody can get it. If you can take down Harvey Weinstein, the man who was seemingly untouchable for decades, if you can finally bring this man down, ain't a motherfucker on this planet that you think, again, one of the heads of Amazon just went down.
Yeah.
An agent from APA has gone down.
Yep, saw that.
So you're having all these people that are like, oh, you thought you were safe? Not anymore. Because if he can go down, you can go down. And guess what? He has more money and more power. So if you don't have at least a level of matching that, and even if you do, you're still going down.
What I think is about to happen is, and Max very eloquently put it like this right before the show, is that we're basically about to witness films 9/11. And there's going to be a massive structural collapse of the system as we know it. As far as like the people who are in charge are going to have stuff come out about them over and over and over again. It's going to be the same story. And then and there's going to be a whole new regime that comes in and takes over.
Yeah, my mom's gonna want to come to every audition from now on.
I'm wondering what's about to happen with a lot of these major productions. Again, we just pumped Amazon up. Let's be honest. Just pumped it up, but also their CEO is getting shaken down.
Yeah.
Does it affect the movies and the production? I doubt it affect the, what's going to in progress or whatever, but now you got to restructure.
But we already know that that's happening to the Weinstein Company too. They're already having to bring in an investment company to figure out how to restructure stuff so they don't have to file for bankruptcy.
And they're trying to change. They're like, how do you change the name and how do you switch this up? And it's like, it's kind of difficult.
Yeah.
Like Miramax, I think is pretty much just that's it.
Yeah.
I think that's pretty much it for Miramax.
You just change it back. You could just change it back to Miramax.
I mean, you could just change it back to Miramax, but it's like...
But people, the Miramax and Weinstein are so tightly
symbiotic.
associated.
I agree in a way, but what these people don't know is every single person is completely expendable from the top down. You can change them all out. It doesn't matter.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. The fact you got the brother, Bob Weinstein, like, no, we can actually make this work.
And then the brother got accused of some shit this week, too.
The brother got popped up. I was like, we good? Not your ass. And he's like, oh. So I just think, the crazy part, I was talking to Rachel Cushing. She does a lot of work. She's a film editor. She works a lot with us on Collider and the Movie Trivia Showdown. Her and I were talking earlier, and one of the biggest things I brought up was, in this day and age of this ongoing constant news cycle, I'm hoping this doesn't die out.
No, me either.
Because it is very easy for, as long as stories come out, it stays relevant. The moment stories stop and something else happens, we won't talk about it anymore. People can say consistently, no, we'll forever talk about it, man and woman. But let's be honest. There was just a mass shooting 2 weeks ago. We don't talk about it anymore.
Yep.
There's other things that have happened. We don't talk about them anymore. Everybody, we're so preoccupied with what's the new thing happening instead of staying focused on something like this has to stay in the forefront, because if we let it go, it's going to continue to happen. Now, will it bring down all of the freaky, perverted shit that happens in Hollywood?
Absolutely not.
Absolutely not.
Because you know what all this is going to distract people from? All of the weird pedophilia shit that goes on in Hollywood.
Because Bryan Singer is still out here making motherfucking films.
Yep.
And I will say this. I'm ashamed to say I've watched the X-Men film because, of course, what I do, I watch them. But we've allowed him to do this. The Gifted that is now on Fox. It's his project. It has been known for years that Bryan Singer's into some freaky shit.
Yep.
And nobody is taking him down. We come at Woody Allen. We don't come at him.
Yeah.
Come at both. Will it change everything? It should. But a lot of this freaky shit that happens is unfortunately still going to happen because why? People will forget about it. Again, Harvey Weinstein was a thing before. It's just now we put him on blast.
Yeah.
Thank you to the internet and social media.
Stay active, guys. Keep talking
You
about it.
Keep talking about it.
This is gonna be. I want to see this all the way through.
Oh, all the way through. I
would love. I mean, I wouldn't love to, but I would definitely like to keep being able to talk about Harvey Weinstein
and making sure people know
every single fucking week.
Yeah,
on this
like
podcast.
now there's another person that's come out and they've not only they've brought up Harvey Weinstein, they've brought up other people and things like that. Those are the things you need. Mm-hmm. Those are the things you need.
Yeah. Well, let's change gears.
Okay.
We're gonna shift. We're gonna make a hard gear shift here. We're gonna talk about the reason why we have you here today, Jay.
All right.
As we do on every podcast, we have a guest come and talk about a movie that they hate, and Jay Washington hates Robocop 3.
Robocop 3.
So when you told me that this was your pick, I got it, and I've never seen any of the Robocop movies. I was like, all right, I don't know what this is going to be about. Did a little Wikipedia research. 1993 American cyberpunk action film directed by Fred Decker, written by Frank Miller, and the third and final installment in the Robocop trilogy, involving Robocop avenging the death of his partner as he tries to save Detroit from falling into chaos. I heard there are ninjas. I don't really know a whole lot about this movie. Jay, why do you hate Robocop 3?
Because of everything you just said and then some. First and foremost, tonally, this movie is completely different because this is when they were getting ready to go into Robocop the series. So they had to lighten it up. Robocop 1 was a dark film. If you've never seen it, Paul Verhoeven is a murder fest. It is a murder fest. From the moment the movie starts to when Alex Murphy is shot to shit to become Robocop. Even there's a scene, if you go and Google Robocop 1 boardroom scene director's cut, there is a guy in the boardroom that gets shot up by Ed 209, which is like the main robot villain versus Robocop, and he gets shot to shit for over 37 seconds, and you see bullets just flying in him. Not to mention all other shooting you see throughout the film. Robocop 2 carried that over. Still was a dark film, had all that. You go to Robocop 3. We got a brand new guy playing Robocop first and foremost, okay? Let's make sure that is established. You know, because now you no longer have Peter Weller playing Robocop. You got Robert John Burke or whoever it was.
Yeah, Robert John Burke.
You got him playing Robocop. Looks completely different, okay? Nancy Allen is still there playing Lewis, and you're just like, oh, sweetie, it's okay. It's okay. You really wanted to keep this going. You get, who else was it? Oh, let me remember who else it was. Because there were so many people I was like, oh, y'all just did this for a check, and you thought you were going to hold on to it.
Rip Torn is in here.
See, which says a lot. Rip Torn being the CEO of OCP. Then you started bringing John Castle. You had CCH Pounder was in it. That's who I wanted to bring up. Like, yo, she's one of the prominent black actresses. And I was like, oh, they told you was going to do a Robocop film. And you was excited as fuck. And you got on set, and they was like, yeah, this is it. And you were like, this ain't Robocop. It was so much lighter. It was a different film. You gave Robocop a fucking jetpack. A jetpack. A dude who is a cyborg, half cop, who just takes down bad guys. Now he's flying through fucking Detroit. Are you serious? While he shoots at gangs and ninjas in Detroit. Say that. I just want you to remember that. Ninjas in Detroit. Those are things that should not happen.
Oh, my God.
In a film. Now, RoboCop was a brand. It got to the point also it went bad because they brought RoboCop into WCW, World Championship Wrestling.
Wait, what?
Yes. RoboCop was brought into World Championship Wrestling.
Oh, my God. Why? Who decided that was a good idea?
The marketing. They're like, yo, we can make RoboCop go more mainstream and more widespread than what he already is. However, you killed him in the process. You killed it in the process. But people believed, yep.
Oh, my God.
Yep. RoboCop was in WCW.
RoboCop in WCW. Max is showing me this promo right now.
Yes.
Holy shit.
Yes. And so you killed all of this. And then, you killed it to the point where you tried to rehash it. You tried to rehash the whole franchise with the new RoboCop. And it was like, all right. But RoboCop 3 almost put this whole entire franchise in the grave. The movie was so bad. It got a 3% on Rotten Tomatoes. 3%.
No.
I know people like nowadays be like, man, fuck Rotten Tomatoes. Rotten Tomatoes, I know what they're talking about. 3%. No one liked this movie. No one. Metadata gave it like 4 out of 10 stars or something like that. And barely gave it that.
Good God.
It is a horrible. The whole premise is so stupid because now OCP is more than just a regular corporation. These mugs are like an evil government entity. It's horrible. It is It's one of those films where you watch it and you just get angry at everybody that was responsible behind this. Everybody. You're like, okay, you a part of this shit. I just want to fight you. You allowed this to happen.
Good God.
And because of IMDb, because of the internet, you will always know that that movie fucking exists.
This is so sad. Because that's it's like to hear about RoboCop as a franchise sinking to such a low, to put in, to completely change. Why did they even make a series? Just more cash grab? I take it.
Of course.
And it was was it live action?
Yeah. Yes.
Okay.
Yes. It again. You just try to capitalize on what it is. You just try to say, let's get as much money off this property as we can. And you can kill a property like that when you're trying to bleed it dry. And they bled it. RoboCop 3 was the worst iteration of RoboCop. He lost he was so, yeah, he had a heart. I mean, yeah, Murphy has a heart, but he had a heart now. He was like, I've got to save the kids, Lewis. Before Lewis died, Murphy didn't talk like that. Let me find out about my jetpack. Motherfuck your jetpack! Movie was just bad, bro. So bad.
So, all right. So, here, there are a couple things I want to definitely unpack here. First of all, the involvement of Frank Miller. Now, Frank Miller, known to comic book fans as somebody who writes very dark, gritty stuff. Sin City, Dark Knight Returns, Swamp Thing. All kinds of stuff that is known to have this element. And this was his second crack at doing something in Hollywood. He was originally commissioned to write the first draft of RoboCop 2, which got rejected. And he got the story credit, but it was rewritten. So Hollywood came at him again, and he was like, hey, let's see if we can do something. We're going to have you back for RoboCop 3. Let's make it good this time. Let's get you to take some of those ideas that we kicked out, and we're going to put them back in this one, buddy. And Frank Miller said, okay. And they shit all over his vision from how it sounds. I don't think correct me if I'm wrong. Does Frank Miller strike you as the kind of dude who would be okay with RoboCop fighting ninjas in Detroit?
No, not with all the stuff I've seen Frank Miller do. No. I mean, granted, could he have changed? Possibly. Could this be a whole different Frank Miller from what we had in the past? Absolutely. But as a whole, it doesn't strike me as that being him. You know what I'm saying? It doesn't strike me as Frank Miller being a dude like, yo, I want RoboCop to just fly through the streets of downtown Detroit that's in ruins. Nah, I think, again, but this is something that's been going on for years where Hollywood execs and studio execs, they'll take a script and take a movie and tailor it to what they believe is going to be the best for the public, when in all actuality, it's the worst.
Yeah.
It's the worst. I mean, I can go on a tangent all day of how DC films have been like that, but then people will consistently say, I hate DC, and I don't. I just want to make good movies. But
go on that tangent.
So, Batman v Superman should have been a good film. The only way they say it's a good film is if you watch the director's cut, which makes that movie 3 motherfucking hours long. Not going to do that. You know why? Because that's not the movie that was released in theaters. The shit that I watched in the theater was what I'm going to watch. I'm not going to watch an extra. I'm not going to wait for you to plug in an extra half an hour of footage. Suicide Squad. Completely different movies from what it was meant to be. Studio execs got their hand on it. Mm-hmm. And, of course, I don't think there was no other way that they decided to turn that sugar into shit, because I believe even though the studio execs got their hands on it, it still was a horrible fucking project. It was a horrible idea from jump. Cara Delevingne as the fucking Enchantress was pointless. You just tried to bank on Will Smith and Margot Robbie, and you were like, well, the rest will happen. And the fact that I have to call this movie Academy Award winning Suicide Squad fucking hurts my soul. Okay,
God, it's so fucking sad.
it's sad that I have to call it that because
I couldn't even get past the first 10 minutes of Suicide Squad.
But now it's Academy Award winning Suicide Squad. Okay, Wonder Woman, they couldn't do shit about it. Patty Jenkins said, "If I'm gonna do this movie, you're gonna let me do the movie I want," and you got that right. Man of Steel. First of all, let's just be real. Zack Snyder does not like Batman. He only did Man of Steel and Batman v Superman so he can get to Batman. He does not like Superman. We can tell because why? In both films, Man of Steel and Batman v Superman, Superman is a bitch.
Yep.
He is a whiny bitch.
Yeah.
Zack Snyder doesn't like him. Studios are like, we'll change a little bit of this, do just a little bit of that. Justice League comes out in 2-3 weeks. Maybe about 4, whatever. Yeah, in a month. Am I supposed to be excited for a film that, unfortunately, because of the tragic suicide of Zack Snyder's daughter, he had to leave the project? Then you have Joss Whedon come in, and he has to change the tone. He changed the entire tone of the film.
That's the whole. I think that's one of the biggest problems that has plagued DC with their movies.
The entire tone of the film
shifts.
Because now DC was supposed to be dark, as we've seen from every fucking trailer of Justice League. It's kind of funny and lighthearted.
Yeah, like Suicide Squad was trying to be too.
Way too hard. There are parts when the guy who played Killer Croc, when Margot Robbie was like, he's ugly. He was like, not me, shouted. I'm beautiful. I almost threw something at the fucking screen in the movie theater. But that's an issue you have where a lot of times studios, they think they know automatically what everybody wants to see. And so they're like, here's our notes. These aren't suggestions. These are orders.
Right.
These aren't just, well, you might want to do this. No, you do these. You change these. And that's what happens. Frank Miller gives a story and a screenplay, and they're like, all right, what else would make this better? What can we do to kick this up a notch? Somebody just said ninjas, and that's what happened. I've talked to many people who said pitch meetings and script meetings have always come up and things have changed off somebody saying some obscure shit just jokingly. And an exec is like, you know what? That's a good idea. No, it's not. It's not. It's bad enough Peter Weller was like, yo, I'm stepping out of this role. Okay.
I'm gonna go do naked lunch. I'm gonna get my prestige.
I'm gonna get my prestige.
I'm gonna try and get this Oscar.
And then after that, I'm just, you know what? I'm probably not gonna get the Oscar for acting. I'm gonna go behind the camera. Who knew that 20 years later he would be directing Mark Wahlberg in every goddamn American disaster movie that ever happens? Because, man, I told somebody earlier this year, with all these hurricanes, it means one thing for sure. Mark Wahlberg is going to be working for at least the next 6 years.
Oh, yeah.
He's guaranteed to be working. But Peter Weller steps out the role. I remember they were showing the videos of the audition process where it was like a cattle casting call to be the new Robocop. Do you understand how, as a child, or I'm watching this and I don't know how they got the original guy, but I know it's a tall black guy, it's an Asian guy, it's a white guy trying to be the new Robocop, in a story they're going to continue the lineage of. This isn't a brand new Robocop. Mm-hmm. This is still Alex Murphy.
Yeah.
So if you and this is going to sound weird to people, but if you hypothetically cast a black dude after I've watched 2 movies as a white dude, I'm supposed to be like, so RoboCop got a tan? Like, if you cast an Asian dude, I'm like, RoboCop then got swole. Like, what happens? It's just, I don't get it. And so Frank Miller, I know what he's done. We've seen what he's done with Sin City 300. These are just in going to the future. Seeing what he's produced and what he's brought to life, I don't think that was his script.
No, and that's how it sounds. This movie, here's how bad this movie fucked up Frank Miller as far as working in Hollywood. Yeah. After RoboCop 3, he left and didn't work on any more screenplays again until Sin City.
I don't fucking blame him.
Here's a direct quote from an interview he did right around when Sin City was out. Don't be the writer. The screenplay is a fire hydrant and there's a row of dogs around the block waiting for it.
Mm-hmm. Unless you are the writer with a lot of power. Mm-hmm. That's why you now have a lot of writers who are the writers and directors and producers.
Yep.
I.e. Ben Affleck.
Yeah.
Because when you're a writer, when you're a producer, definitely you're investing in this. When you're the director, well, you know what the vision is you want. So it can't change too much. When you're just a writer, you're just a writer. What you present as the product It's like, here, this is what I got. And once you do it, whoever's looking at it before they decide to greenlight it is like, all right, we're going to keep this. We're going to keep that. We're going to take that out. We're going to take that. We're going to bring this, put this up here. We're going to shift this down here. We're going to move this around. We might not do this, but we'll add this. And it completely changes the script. And the writer can't say a thing because their job is done. The job's done.
Mm-hmm.
Now the studio exec has somebody to make those changes, but the writer's job is initially done. So now you're out the process.
Yeah, you got your check. We're not going to have you do anything
Yeah,
else.
we're not going to have you do anything else. And it's just like, man, that is so bad.
So making the changes, the biggest, and this is a thing that leads to the studio execs making these changes and the director making these changes. This is, again, from Wikipedia, a quote from Electronic Gaming Monthly. Recognizing that RoboCop's fan base consisted primarily of children, Orion Pictures cut down on the graphic violence that was seen as the defining characteristic of the first two films. So, look, if you have kids watching your movie, and you know that kids are watching your movie, and you know that kids probably really enjoy seeing people get blown the fuck up and shot up with bullets, hey, you know what? Maybe don't change any of that stuff.
First of all, let's just go to the biggest part of this.
Are you trying to make us a not R? Was RoboCop 3 rated R or PG-13?
PG-13.
See, that's the problem.
And that's a problem. RoboCop is all, and I was about to say, RoboCop has been rated R from jump. If you are a parent and you took your 10-year-old or your 9-year-old to see a mechanic cop because they was like, oh my God, it's a robot, Mom, we gotta go see the robot. And your parents like, yeah, come to the movie. And next thing you know, oh my God, he getting shot up. That's your fault. That's the parent's fault. Because you know what movie ratings are meant for. Not recommended for children under 17.
Right.
I get, yeah, that became the selling point for the toys and all that. But that movie, what he's based off of, is not for children.
Absolutely not.
So you have Orion Pictures who are like, yo, we're conflicted. On one hand, our movie does well because it's already filmed and people like it. But at the same time, our toys do well because kids love it. The problem is kids are technically not supposed to watch our film. And the adults aren't going to buy toys unless they're collectors. Every adult is not going out, yo, I got to get this die-cast metal RoboCop to put on my shelf. Because I'm going to have this lady come over and I'm going to tell her, you got to see my Alex Murphy. He has real thigh open action. You got to see his thigh open up. Like, it's not going to happen. So what do you do when you sat there after the second movie? Because the second movie was all heavily drug influenced and everything. You do the third one, you're like, well, how do we make it where we can make people come see RoboCop, but we can also make it where the kids can see it and still sell toys? Well, let's change it. Let's add something that little boys will like. What will they like? Ninjas.
Everybody loves ninjas.
What else does little boys will like? A jetpack. Oh, man, we can make that an accessory for the RoboCop toy now.
You know, that accessory, we can make it. We can have a whole separate RoboCop toy with its own jetpack, and we can have one without the jetpack. So that way they got to get both.
They got to get both.
And they got to get ninjas, too. We can make them in different colors.
We can make different colors. We can get the ninjas. We can get this. We can get the expandable Ed 209s, all these different things. And that's what happens, and you get that in this film. And because you get that from this film because then you got to cater to the toys. And that's how you get this horrible abomination of a film that's RoboCop 3.
Never cater to the toys.
Well, that's not true. That is not true. That's what Marvel has done, and Marvel are geniuses at it.
But see, that's I think Marvel has come at their approach with trying to make stuff that's more lighthearted to begin with.
Well,
and it lends itself better to that.
Yeah, I agree.
They're not making hard R movies.
This is true. I've never seen a direct Marvel Studios. Marvel has made R-rated movies because Blade was an R-rated movie.
Right, and Deadpool was an R-rated movie.
Deadpool's not Marvel. Deadpool is Fox.
Ah, okay.
Deadpool is Fox.
Good point. Good point.
Blade was Marvel, but there weren't a lot of Blade toys.
Right.
I don't know if there were. I mean, there might have been a Blade figure here and there, but there weren't a lot of Blade toys. But now Marvel, because there are certain Fox has properties that Marvel doesn't own. Sony has properties that Marvel doesn't own. And the understanding is you can make this movie, but guess what? You can't make any money off toys. We can. We do it. You don't get to make any money off any of these. So the X-Men movies, did you ever see any X-Men toys from the movies? Probably not.
No, not really.
Did you ever see any Spider-Man, the film toys? Probably. You saw a few, but that was Marvel. That was Marvel getting that money. That wasn't Sony.
You know what I saw more of? I saw Lego sets with Batman, or not Batman, with Spider-Man and Doc Ock.
But that's Marvel getting that money.
Yeah.
But now Spider-Man's in the MCU. You saw a bunch of Spider-Man Homecoming toys.
Oh, yeah.
Because Marvel has them now. He's already making us money on the screen. Now he's going to make us money in the toy stores. We already got our... Look, Thor's hammer sells like crazy no matter how much people feel about him. People buy Thor's hammer left and right.
You know how many people I've seen with Hulk hands?
With Hulk hands? With a Captain America shield?
Hundreds.
Marvel is... But they know how to make a nice blend of that.
Mm-hmm.
You don't have to compromise your film's integrity to sell your toys.
Right.
There's no need to. Orion dead. And look at where's Orion now.
I don't know.
Now you just need a good video game.
You need a good video game, but then you did the Robocop video game. Robocop went from a movie to a marketing ploy. You get a video game, you get a TV show, you put Robocop on World Championship Wrestling. Because bringing Robocop to the ring will be amazing, right? The fans will love it. The fans aren't going to be like, what the fuck? No, they're not going to do that. Guess what? You bring RoboCop out, the fans are like, what the fuck? And it happened. You bring the RoboCop TV series, it lasted maybe one season, if that. You did the RoboCop cartoon. You did the RoboCop toy. Again, you market all these things to try to just, what more can we reach out of it? And that's when you take away the genuineness of it, the exclusivity of it, because it was a character in a film.
You know what's crazy to me is that as a kid, I remember hearing about RoboCop, and it never came up that RoboCop was a character in an R-rated movie where there was murder happening left and right.
Which, again, as I've said before,
that's good marketing.
The first movie had to be cut down to be R-rated. The director's cut of RoboCop is NC-17 because it is that violent. So this movie RoboCop was never meant for kids initially. But because they had to try, because kids wanted it, little boys wanted a robot cop. Little boys wanted those toys.
What little boy doesn't want that?
Right. And so they had to figure out how to do it. And then how can we make a movie where the kids won't see all this blood and guts and gore all over the place? We're going to change everything we love, that people love about this character, and you get this shitty-ass movie. And it'd be a different story if I was one person saying it was a horrible movie. It'd be a different story if it was just two people. It'd be a different story if one film critic website was like, yeah, this movie was bad. Everybody says this movie is horrible.
Everybody.
It's not, I don't know a person that was like, you know what, RoboCop 3 was pretty good. No, it was. Look, Nancy Allen doesn't even talk about that. She went and she's done some things, but you gotta be like, yo, that's Lewis. And she'd be like, don't do that. I died in RoboCop 2. Like, no, you were in 3. No, I died in 2. You were in 3. I died in 2. But it happens. It happens. So, I mean, it's a crazy thing that the film had to go that way, and the franchise ended up dying out. But it is what it is.
Yeah, man, that's crazy. I think that predates. It really does predict very prescient of a lot of the franchise problems that have been happening over the past several years.
Absolutely.
It's crazy.
It's just again, studio execs. They think they know it all, and they don't. They make decisions that are not the best. They're not of the best caliber. And, we've seen that. We've seen it in the past, and it's not even just a RoboCop. We've seen it with other films. We've seen it going forward. Remember, Jurassic Park, 1 was great. 2 was like, are we really doing this? 3 was like, let's bring it back a little bit. Then you got Jurassic World, and you were like, oh, fuck all of y'all. Because, again, in Jurassic World, we're supposed to forget that Bryce Dallas Howard ran through a whole fucking jungle in heels and nobody says shit. We're supposed to believe that Chris Pratt was able to pet fucking velociraptors like they were puppies. No.
Total bullshit.
But that's what happens with studios.
It's a great way to sell some toys.
An amazing way to sell toys.
God. Well, if you guys are planning on going to see Robocop 3 anytime soon, don't. Just don't. Stick to the
Unless you
originals.
want to watch it as one of those, is this really that bad movie? And you watch it and be like, oh my God.
Jay, it was a real pleasure having you on.
Man, it was
today,
an honor.
man.
Thank you for having me on here.
Of course. Where can my listeners find your work?
You can find me on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter at Mr. J Washington. That's MrJaywashington. You can find me at jwashington.com. Catch me on Collider Video on the Movie Trivia Schmodown. Catch me on Hyper RPG doing different things with them. Screen Junkies is a little on hold. People have heard what's going on. We'll talk about that later.
Oh, yeah.
Also, make sure you check out the Trusty Sidekick podcast with myself and Bobby Hill. We get you caught up on everything going on with the Marvel and DC TV show and cinematic universes.
Can be found at Diet J on Twitter and Instagram, JLight Comedy on Facebook, and jlightcomedy.com for show dates. I am going on tour. I will be going across cross country and back from LA to North Carolina and back again.
Sweet.
So keep your eyes peeled. Those tour dates will be out today when this episode drops. Those tour dates are going to be out. So keep your eyes peeled for those. You might come see me touring to a city near you. And please rate in iTunes, subscribe, leave a review. I don't think have any reviews yet, and it really helps the podcast visibility to get some reviews. And I just want people to see this thing. And I know you're listening, so take 5 seconds and go leave a review, please. I'm begging you, please, so much. Jay, thanks again, man.
Jay, thank you for having me, man. I appreciate it much. It's been a blast. I love talking films sometimes, and be able to talk these films with you was an honor.
Yeah, same here, man. This has been Blockbusting. Hey, guys, go see something good for a change.